Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Rebound! 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 Oh, good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief or immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in, schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. Well, good morning. A happy Monday to all across the Delaware Valley. It's a beautiful day, and it's game 2. And game 1, obviously, rebounding was at the center stage. So much to talk about when it comes to the series, the scare that happened with Joe. But let's start on with the big picture. And the big picture is I'm not depressed or dejected after what I saw after game 1. Now, obviously, Embiid's that knee has to get him through the series, right? And let's not even talk about anything but this series. It's got to get him through. If it can't get him through, obviously they got no chance. And you saw it. Like when he comes down awkwardly on that knee, and it scared him, right? It scared him. Like it scared all of us. We all had the same thought. Like when that knee lands like that, oh no. Well, when it happened, we all held our breath, and then it was like you had to deal with halftime and Stephen A., right? Barking at halftime, vomit emoji, right? Like we had to deal with all that stuff. And then the next thing you know, he comes out and he's playing. It's like, oh God. You want to talk about like ups, downs. And it was interesting because you saw the way they ended the first half, it just got ugly, right? Without him, they sagged, no chance. And then he comes out and they immediately get back in the game. Now, obviously, the rebounding was the story. 55 boards for New York, 33 for the Sixers. They got 23 offensive rebounds. Now, Thibodeau likes to crash, right? Like he likes to send everyone to offensive rebound, which is a rarity in the NBA. A lot of coaches are afraid of runouts, and so they don't crash the way Tibbs likes to crash. And it was just frustrating as all get out because you get those stops, and then the next thing you know, there's another possession, and then another possession. And like that is how they're going to try to grind you. And they have to match. Then the whole series is going to be a miss because they're not out-talenting you. Talent is not the problem in this series. Grit is the biggest issue. Tenacity is the biggest issue. Want is the biggest issue. And again, as long as Embiid's on the floor, it's going to come down to those 3 things. Because that's what the Knicks are going to try to do in this series. They're going to try to bully you. They're going to try to rebound, second chances, defense, muck it up. Like, that's it. And you saw it. First of all, nobody can stay with Maxey, right? Like, they tried everybody on Maxey. They tried Anunoby on Maxey, and they're not working, right? Jalen's not working. Like, nobody can stay with Maxey. Athletically, the Sixers are superior when it comes to with that matchup with Maxey. Now, Embiid, it comes down to basically Embiid was gassed at the end of that game, right? There was a couple misses. He missed a couple threes. And that was the difference between Miami and the Knicks on Saturday night. It was just that. I mean, it was let's face it, it was a yin and yang game at the end. And Josh Hart made shots, and the Sixers did not. Now, a couple things are entirely frustrating, and it begins with Tobias Harris. Like, dude, you gotta give me more. He had 9 rebounds. Now, I grant you, he was part of the rotation on Brunson, and the rotation of defenders on Jalen Brunson did a great job. Like, he was 8 for 26, 1 for 6 from 3. Like, they did a great job swarming Brunson. But, dude, I got to get more out of you. I got to get more out of Tobias Harris. Come on, bro. This is the plus. I know it's the same thing over and over and over again. But look, otherwise I can't have him on the floor. And I hear people talking about Ricky Council, and I go, at this point, energy, I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. There's some. I just can't have that. I'm scared, or I'm just disappeared. He's not even scared as much as he's the friendly ghost. He just is a ghost, right? In that game, like, you just don't see him. Like, to disappear with 10 people on a floor is a skill, and he's mastered that. I can't have it. This is the playoffs. I need grit. I need the grind out of Tobias. And then the bench, just got annihilated, smoked. You saw the bench. The bench, you had, 42-7. They got outscored on the bench. 7 points. That's all you had off your bench. And again, Buddy Hield, same thing, 2 shots and out. I think Nick Nurse needs to come up with a better solution, because the problem is you need Buddy Hield to give you at least what McBride gave you, right? Miles McBride, Deuce, gave you more, and you got to get some of that from Buddy Hield. You got nothing from Buddy Hield in game 1. I got to have something from him. And I get it. If he doesn't make 2 shots, you're out of the game. But, like, I don't know that that's healthy. I don't know that you're going to be able to get that. He's not Korkmaz, right? Like, he should be able to give you more and give you something on a consistent basis. So you got to get more out of him. Listen, you knew Nico wasn't going to have the same game that he had against Miami, but I'll take the energy out of him. I think the rotation is a little off. I'm curious to talk about this today and see what you guys think. But having Embiid play the entire third quarter, I don't know. I get it. I get the rhythm of it. But I almost need a more traditional rest, end of the third, early fourth, and then just go balls to the wall last 10 of the game. I kind of want to go back to that, because he looked, and again, before he gets his wind back, it's basketball wind, right? Like, in that game, he had a couple things. He had a big scare. So the scare was real. Like, that was a frightening scare for him. And mind you, the play itself was sick. Like, it was like a monster play. It was Godzilla off the backboard to himself and a jam. And it's a shame, because when it came down, oh my God, you couldn't even celebrate the move, which was unbelievable. But I think between the scare, his mind on his knee, and then just basketball wind. Ultimately, he played, 37 minutes. He gave you 29, 8, and 6. But at the end, he was tired. Like, the shots were short, right? The glass was an issue. Like, he doesn't have that spring to rebound. Like, he needs help. Even if you got to mix in Mo Bamba, right? Like, you got to get some help. Mitchell Robinson came in for the Knicks and gave them big minutes. He had 12 rebounds, 7 offensive boards. So you're going to have to mix a little bit with, I think, you get a couple minutes out of your bigs. I think Nick saw it now, and I think now it's his turn to kind of counterpunch. I think they win tonight. I do. I'm not afraid of what I saw. I looked at them, and I still think, and again, it all hinges on Embiid, but it may sound stupid. I look at it and I go, I'm undeterred. They should win. If Embiid's knee holds up, they should win this series. And I think they win tonight. So we'll get into it. That's Popping Off, brought to you by Olipop. You got to check out Olipop, all right? And you're going to love it. The new soda that's actually good for you, but it tastes great. Find it at Wawa, Olipop.com. Good morning, JP.
Buenos dias, cuz. We got to give a quick yo to AJ. He actually tweeted to us because he had the Olipop root beer float for the game.
Get out.
And he tweeted that to us.
Really?
So shouts to
spilled my
AJ.
coffee.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
We got shouts to AJ, but now because game 1 loss, and listen, we're not going to focus on Joel in the long term. I'm going to wait to see what he looks like here tonight. But I think that there is things that can be fixed that can make it a different story here. You nailed it all with your opening monologue. Obviously, the offensive rebounds were big. The bench points were big as well. But it's clear to me that there was a lot of things that Knicks were doing. Like, obviously, Josh Hart and Miles McBride are not going to do that again. Like, the fact that they were spacing out the court the way they were, it's just not going to happen here again. So, Nick Nurse,
you got to rebound.
That's
Come
the
on,
big thing.
JP.
23-9 is
rebound.
unacceptable.
Tell that to Anthony and Massimo. Box out.
It's the name of the game.
Come on.
Offensive rebound, and it was the big thing. But game 2 here, we turn it back around, cuz at Madison Square Garden. Of course, we'll talk about the activities outside of Madison Square Garden by the fans, but that should push the people.
You know what's nuts? So let me tell everybody. They're obsessed with the New York fans. So right off the bat, JP, before we talk about that, the game itself, I want to dive into the matchups. Like, I want to get into that sort of thing, right? These two, JP, Andrew, even VG, talking about obsessed by the Knicks fans. You guys are obsessed with them. Oh, my God, they're horrible. Cares? They're like us. They're exactly like us. You guys are making alibis for us, like, we're at the Masters, right? Amen corner. Like, that's who we are. Stop. Or they burned Joel's jersey. Yeah, well, guess what? Give me a Brunson jersey and a lighter. I'll set it on fire, too.
We have not been perfect. In our history of sports fans in Philadelphia, we have not been perfect. But since that Michael Irvin situation, when have we booed in a live game an injury like that? That was if you watch the broadcast,
dude, it's fake.
Put the volume up when Joel went down. You can hear the cheers. You can hear the
Dude, that's bad. Look, listen, that'll be karma, and they'll have to answer to karma, to basketball karma.
And this is my thing though.
That's no different than we are. You don't think that people were gleeful over Strider getting hurt?
But that's different though, because it's not in a live game like that. We got that news right after. People can do their thing right behind their phone.
Let me ask you guys a question, because I know this is a big deal. Like, what do you guys care about the Knicks fan? Like, they over celebrate. We overdo it too.
No.
We're actually not that different than they are. We're East Coast. We love our squads. And we're actually similar.
Because them saying we want Boston was hilarious. I love that. The fact that they were already wanting Boston after just winning one game of best stuff.
It's like they won
that's
the NBA
hilarious.
Finals.
That is hilarious. But the fact that they were cheering Joel, they were saying F Joel outside of Madison Square Garden after he got hurt.
What's wrong with that?
I don't agree with cheering on injuries, cause
no, of course not. Because we're sportsmen. Sports people cannot. It's bad. You never cheer injuries. You never root for injuries. That's always been a thing. Like, if you're a competitor, you want the best. You want to play the best. That's the truth of the matter. However, like, F Joel. Like, we haven't done that. Like, come on. Like, what are we, the Saints? Like, what? Stop.
But that's our guy. They're nasty New Yorkers.
I know, they are nasty.
That's
he was with them on Saturday.
I can't stand them.
I know. Listen, I
They're
agree.
like rats.
They are rats. They are nasty.
Smelly
I agree
rats.
with you. But that's who they are. Like, we're not, again, we come from the same passion in rooting for our squads. Like, that's who we are. Like, we can't sit here and go, like, you guys were obsessive. I wanted to talk about the game, like, in little intricacies. You guys all, and now, in fairness, Andrew watched the game in Manhattan.
I did.
Knicks country,
Like
man.
really,
terrible.
you could throw a basketball to the Garden.
I could, yeah. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. It's just the smell, the people. It's overcrowded. I just can't do it.
I will tell you, there is a stink that we had to it. I agree. You know, listen, VG brings this up, and he's not wrong. We cheered and had Bleep Millie signs from the Vikings. You remember Millie?
Well,
You remember Millie from the Vikings? She was a 90-year-old lady. And we're yelling Bleep Millie. Millie's a 90-year-old woman.
But that's all right because
we've
that's
done
us.
some weird
That's our
stuff for
teams.
sure. But my whole
So
point.
wait, you're all right with bleeping with yelling
Bleep Millie.
Bleep Millie?
Bleep Millie.
The Vikings fan?
Yeah, I'm
don't
fine with
remember
that.
this.
They're not Eagles fans. Who cares?
Okay, but my point to you is you can't now get upset that Knicks fans are doing their thing. Like, listen, they're our enemy. They're like, they're now my cousin's like my brother, right? So I love my cousin. But they're a cousin you hate, the Knicks fans.
They are, yeah.
But we're related. Make no mistake. We're related.
We come from the same pool, cesspool.
Yes, we do come from the same cesspool, gene pool. I mean, look, we're 90 miles separated. That's not a lot.
Yeah, it's
But
right.
if you ask someone from Des Moines, Iowa, to differentiate New York and New Yorkers and Philadelphians, you really think they could do that?
Nah.
They're not going to understand the delicacy of the accent.
It's true.
But listen, my only point is, listen, you can have your fun. You can chant, we want
Stop.
Boston.
Come
but
on.
Cheering on the
you got the
injury of
yellow
Joel
like the Easter
Embiid.
bunny.
Happy Easter, cuz.
We're Easter bros today. He's got the yellow, I got the pink. We're like Easter bros today. No, but come on, talk about the game. Let
Let's
me
talk
hear
about
about
the
the game. So how do you feel?
I mean, obviously, like that sucked losing game one. I
No,
mean,
but how do you feel about the series?
the series, I mean, listen, the series is not over. And I see a lot of people complaining about that the series is over, that the Knicks have figured this out. No, like I think Joel Embiid, we're going to see that needs. And I do need to see how he plays and how he does feel, because look, once he went down and they did the over the head angle, when he, like, you see that face, like he was just scared. I'm literally like, no, this is not happening.
He's a dramatic dude, right? Like,
but the thing is, we don't know.
but that was fraud. No, dude. Listen, I agree with you. That was frightening. Your phone blows up. I'm sure we were all having the exact same conversation throughout the Delaware Valley.
I was just
It's
pacing.
over. It's over. Like, everybody felt the same thing. It's over. Here it is. This is what we're, and then you got people today. See, that's why you got to trade them. That's why you should have traded them. See, I mean, you can't. Like, you got to ride it out. Like, you got to ride out a dominating force like Embiid. You got to ride that out.
I mean, you saw what
Like,
happened.
you're in a hurry to trade him for what? Like, what are you going to get? Stop with the trade.
That's 'cause
just
they're tired.
play. And don't offend the sports gods.
They're just tired. But you saw how big it was. Like, he went down, the Knicks, and then in the second half started going on a little bit of that run. But he's just that important to the game. He creates some momentum. He's that. You talk about that offensive rebounding. Him out there is gonna make such a huge difference. Curious how Nick Nurse is kind of counteract to that. Twin Towers possibly, but I'm with you. B-ball Paul, he just lacks like IQ, like basketball IQ.
It's funny because we had this conversation about, like, do you try Reed as a 4, right? Do you try to mix things up? I don't do that. I mean, I might mix in Bob at times and see kind of where you're at depending on the matchup, where they're at.
Yeah.
You got to get more rebounding, though. And listen, it's incumbent on Tobias. It's incumbent on Kelly Oubre. Like, like offensive, rebounding and protecting the glass on the defensive end is a team deal. Like, what they do is they crash.
Yeah.
Not a lot of teams crash. A lot of coaches are afraid of runouts, so they don't crash the glass. The Knicks crash. That's part of how they play the game. They want to beat you up, and they want second chances. Second chance opportunities are just backbreakers, right? Like they're momentum changers and backbreakers. They take your will. That's why you got to protect the glass. I mean, look, it's a game and they got out rebounded by 20.
Yeah.
22. 55 to 33. 23 extra chances. 23 of them.
It's not they have Dennis Rodman out there.
You can't overcome that.
Nah.
You have to do a better job on the glass. This is like elemental.
Another key point, though, because 31 minutes of Tobias just looking lost, not really providing much offense. That's big, too. That's 31 minutes. That's a starter right there. I don't know what you're...
He's the ghost. He was. You're right. It's 31 minutes of Casper.
Listen, you have to be real with yourself. If you're Nick Nurse, you got to put Toby coming off the bench in this game here.
He's not going to do that.
But
he's not going to take him all. He's not going to not start him. You're not going to do that because then he'll feel like he loses him for the rest of the playoffs. So he's not going to do that. But there's a way to kind of limit his minutes at times in the fourth quarter. He played the most minutes of anyone in the fourth quarter. So you might have to limit him there. You also might have to figure out the rotation. Yeah. What's the matter?
No, you're right. And I was looking at the minutes. You were right. 10-25 for Toby in that fourth quarter. Yeah.
Like you gotta tweak that.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to tweak his rotation. I think his rotation needs a little tweaking, especially with Joel and looking at his wind and how he finished. Now, he finished the game against Miami strong, right? He wins it down the stretch. He was utterly dominant before the knee thing, before the scare. No one, I mean, you saw him. He was ridiculous. You know what's funny? I look at superstars, and every superstar, I mean, go back to Jordan, go back to Bird, go back to Julius Erving, when, those days, all through Kobe, LeBron, Steph. If you look at superstars, the first quarter, they defer. Like you need to get everybody else involved, right? Like that's part of it. And I think the same thing. I think what you got to do is, there's no need for him to come out and dominate the first quarter. I look to get all the guys early.
Get that confidence going.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you go unleash the beast. I think I think the rhythm and the rotation and all that stuff needs to be tweaked by Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason. He is the beast. Don't unleash him early. You don't need to unleash him early.
I agree. No.
Get everybody else going and then unleash him later.
And that's why we have Nick Nurse. Because listen, we talked about Doc, we talked about Brett Brown, but Nick Nurse makes those adjustments. I truly believe he's going to make those game 2 adjustments.
Yeah, I believe that too. I do.
There's things that could be done.
I agree. I believe that. I'm with you.
I feel good tonight. I feel good.
You feel good?
I feel good.
Yeah, I do too. All right. What a week we got.
Dude, it's busy.
Yeah,
it's a busy
it's
one.
Awesome, right? We got Sixers tonight. We got Sixers Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
The draft.
Yeah.
And the Sixers game 3. I mean, that's going to be unbelievable in this town.
It's a loaded day.
So we dream of as sports fans.
A monster, Andrew. It's going to be incredible. All right, so today we have David Murphy. So we'll talk to David Murphy, I knew he would be a terrific columnist for the Inquirer. I love what he wrote. I think he and I kind of see it the same way. We're going to kind of dive into it a little bit. So we'll talk to David Murphy. Baldy will join us as we continue the draft talk. So Baldy will be with us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to kind of get us all set. So for this draft that's coming about, we'll talk to the big brain, see where where his thoughts. He's always fun to kind of bat things around. So we have big brain daily grind brought to you by Parks. So we have all kinds of things to kind of get you going. Clubhouse at 10:30. It's a busy week across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. And, hey, let's talk about what am I talking about here? I want to talk about Rite Aid, right? I love
allergy season, cuz. Killing me right now.
Yeah, me too. You got it bad too?
I got it terrible.
Yeah, I just
sneezing all damn day.
Yeah, brain fog, which is one of the symptoms.
That is real.
I get that a lot. But let me tell you about Rite Aid, your local pharmacy. your neighborhood pharmacy. I got a relationship with Rite Aid, goes back years. I always talk about my Aunt Cookie. I loved my Aunt Cookie. God rest her soul. She was amazing. And she was ill for a better part of her life. She struggled with a disease called scleroderma. In fact, both her and my mother had it. And my aunt had it. Very painful, very bad. And so she was on a lot of medications. And she would go to Rite Aid. That was her thing. We would walk to local Rite Aid. In fact, it's so funny because VG, Violations Greg, says he talks about Marge from the Rite Aid on 10th Street, right off Passyunk Avenue. And I'm like, that's so what Rite Aid is. It's you feel good. You go in there, you feel at home, and that's what it's meant to be. So all the stuff you need, the pharmacists are there to help, whether it's allergy season where you need, any kind of, immunization shots, whatever it is, check out Rite Aid, riteaid.com for all of your needs. It's your local pharmacy. They're important. So make sure you head to your local Rite Aid, JP.
That is right. As we're talking about Rite Aid, let's talk about one of our favorite beverages out there, and that is Ollie Pop, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about it a little earlier. AJ Kilmatry on Twitter gave us the big yo here, showing us the Cuz's root beer flow as he enjoyed it while he's watching the
Just
Sixers.
like Little Ant. I love it, buddy.
Ant. He listens to the show. We really do appreciate that, guys. So if you guys want to get your Little Ant's root beer float on, all you got to do is get yourself that Ollie Pop, ladies and gentlemen. And what is Ollie Pop, you may ask? It's the world's first functional soda with the classic soda taste. It has the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, other botanical ingredients to support gut health. That's important here, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a new kind of soda that only has 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of fiber per can. And the best part about it, it is available in many different locations, 30,000 retailers nationwide, including the most recent launch and our favorite, Wawa, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's available in Wawa, but of course, you guys can enjoy it in other retail shops like your favorites like Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite, and Go Puff. So what are you waiting for, ladies and gentlemen? Get yourself some of that Ollie Pop. If you don't want to go to the store, it's easy. You can get delivered right to your house. Head on over to drinkollipop.com, and while you're there, use the promo code. You see it on the screen if you're watching it live, PHLY20 for 20% off your next Ollie Pop order. This discount only applies to one-time orders, not subscription orders. And like we mentioned, that is available on drinkollipop.com or Amazon, or you can go to one of the retailers. I'll see you guys at the Wawa and get yourself some Ollie Pop. Thank you to our friends over here at Ollie Pop, cuz.
All right, JP. Thanks, buddy. All right, joining us to talk about the series, a big story of the day is, of course, Sixers-Knicks Game 2, and that's brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY for the credit union difference. And joining us from the Inquirer, who does a great job. Look, he's dressed. I get to see him. My main man, David Murphy. What do you say, brother? How are you?
Yeah, man. I'm really going all out for you. I when you first asked me to come on here, I just assumed we were doing the phone, or I forgot that you're all video all the time now, and I realized I had to comb my hair and put a shirt on, which was it's not my usual Monday morning.
Guess what? It's not mine either, brother. So I thank you and I appreciate you.
I'm glad to see you guys are fully clothed and kicking butt for that.
Well, we listen, for the audience, it's best that way. Let me ask you, I loved your column. I thought spot on that you got a sense of what the Knicks are and a sense of the matchups. And assuming that Embiid, that knee will hold up, you still believe that the Sixers are in this series?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I now again, a lot comes about. There's probably some bias baked in from watching how they dominated that first quarter. But at one point, during the early going, I texted a buddy of mine who's a Knicks fan, and I said, "Dude, I mean, there's just a talent disparity between these two teams." And he said, "Just wait." I've been saying all season the Knicks are the last team besides the Celtics that I would want to play in the playoffs, because they're just, I mean, they've got a lot of that Miami Heat kind of just grind in them. And we've seen it. Those kind of teams have given the Sixers team problems going all the way back to that first Celtics series in 2018. I mean, when Scary Terry and kind of their band of misfits just wiped the floor with the Sixers that first year. But you know what? Before Embiid went down, we saw the big difference too. Embiid's just such a different player now. I think Nick Nurse has played a role in that. I think Nick Nurse kind of gave him a little bit of the lowdown on the book on him in the postseason and how to stop him. And he's just turned into a much more mature player. He's passing the ball. He's much more in control. So if he's in there, that's the big difference to me. I think they can beat a team like this. And I think they clearly have the talent. It's just a question of the big guy, as always.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Knicks style, Dave, and I couldn't agree with you more. Like, look at Tibbs, what Tibbs tries to do. Like, most coaches don't crash because they're afraid of runouts, and they crash. And they won the game because they got 23 offensive rebounds. I mean, the bottom line is that's why they won that game, because of all those second chance opportunities. And that's something that a lot of coaches don't do.
No, but you got to have the right team to do it. You are putting yourself out there. The problem is, it's easy to make the call to crash when you're going to win the rebounding margin 23-9. Josh Hart. What can you say? The guy's just he's a winning basketball player. And in Hardenstein, they've got a guy who can elevate and kind of just slop his way and grind his way to those tip outs. And it's tough, but look, all that being said, being out rebounded 23-9 in the glass, giving up 45% shooting from 3-point range, missing a number of ugly open 3-point attempts. We won't name names, Tobias. They still only lost by 7 points, and you're talking about, two of that 14 rebounding advantage and 2 3-pointers, and that's the game.
And honestly, it's a one possession game through the end of that game up until the end where it becomes 7.
Yeah. And look, Deuce McBride ain't going to go Reggie Miller in the Garden every night. The kid's obviously very good, but he was unconscious. There's a lot of reasons to kind of proceed with caution after watching that in game 1.
What kind of rotational changes? Like you mentioned Tobias, and I think we all agree. What do you do with the Tobias factor? And how do the other issue was the bench. You got outscored 42-7 on the bench, a lot of it due to deuces, but what do you do rotationally to kind of counteract what you saw in game 1?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually looking at it on my way home on I guess it was Saturday night. I don't know what you do. I think the obvious move is to put Campaign in and give him Buddy Hield's minutes, because Buddy Hield is just giving you absolutely nothing. I've never been the biggest Buddy Hield fan in the world, but he can't get a shot off. He's just bringing nothing to the table right now. Now, I think there's an argument that you could do something really dramatic and put Hield in the starting lineup and maybe bring Tobias off the bench or something like that. But I don't know if Nurse is. I don't know if that's where he's.
I can't see him doing that. I think that's too dramatic.
The problem with the Campaign thing, if you put him and Maxey out there on the court together, we saw how they were hunting Maxey with Bogdanovich, and they've got a size disadvantage there.
Yep.
Campaign's only going to exacerbate that. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think as unique of a player as Campaign is, he does bring you kind of that element. He's almost like Alec Burks that one year when the Sixers brought him on, or Dennis Schroeder has played that role in the past for a number of teams, where just like bring a guy in and have him change the pace a little bit. And if no one else is scoring when Embiid is off the court, put it in his hands,
Would you change up the way you deploy Joel? Right, like, so he likes to play Joel the entire third quarter. It's almost like I start to think about it and go, maybe you do the old, out the last 2 minutes of the third, first 2.5 minutes of the fourth, and then let him finish the game, where he'll be a little more fresh. Because again, we know with him, he needs to play rhythmically, right, to get his basketball wind up.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because the game was so mucked up by him going
Yeah.
out early. Who knows what the actual plan was at the end of the day. I mean, I think he played the entire first quarter, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't honestly at this point with Joel. I don't want to spend too many of my brain cells on it because I don't know if he's even going to be out there or what kind of shape he's going to be in. So I think that's going to dictate a lot of it. I mean, to your point, I mean, look, let's not overlook the fact that Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart are playing 42 minutes a game. I mean that helps your bench as well. When you basically got 10 extra minutes out of your two of your best players compared to what normal guys play. But I don't know, man. Like, what would you do? I think there's an argument. Look, I'm just brainstorming here, and Nurse is a he'll think outside the box. Is there any argument for putting Paul Reed on the court for some rebounding help with? I don't know that there's any answers. Like what do you think?
Listen, I've been talking about it all morning. Same thing as you, Murph. Like I look at it and go, do I put Mo Bamba? I mean, the thing about Paul Reed that scares me a little bit is the IQ next to Joe. Like he worries me a little bit that way. I have to protect the glass.
Here's my thing. If I am probably a bigger Tobias kind of. I appreciate him a little more than other people in this market. But
yeah,
look, the knocks on him are real. Like he doesn't. He's not a finisher. He's a streaky catch and shoot guy. At best. But don't get me wrong, there are nights where like you needed those 5 or 6 possessions where he takes the ball in his hands and get to his spot and gets those points. It's. But if he's not bringing you anything, I guess the argument would be Paul Reed can just as easily stand in the corner and give you nothing, and at least crash the boards or box out a little bit.
It's interesting because Tobias played 10 minutes and 50 seconds in the fourth quarter, right? The most of anybody in the fourth quarter. I think that was the biggest issue. I go back to Batum. I'm not expecting Batum that he's 1 for 4 to give you what he did against Miami. I mean, that was kind of a blue snow type of game. But Batum plays great defense, and he can help rebound, man. Like he can help you board. I need more Nico, I think, in that situation because and less than Tobias in the fourth quarter because I can count on Batum to kind of help collapse and help rebound.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I think against a normal team maybe. But I don't know, like who on that court is Batum, out battling for a board. I think that's my number one thing is like if that guy's not going to bring you anything, whoever that 4th or 5th guy is there any way
athletically when they shoot threes, he's got more of a chance. Remember, like the traditional, 6'11" guy.
Yeah, but I feel like
it's different with the way the trajectory of the basketball.
I don't know. I feel like Tobias is a better rebounder than Batum, no? Or at least can get up a little more.
Dude, Tobias has a refined game. But like I'm with you. Like he's Batum's 6'8", right? Like so they're both similar, right? The issue is the Tobias. I like you. I love Tobias as a guy. I love the guy. I do. I love him. We did that movie Hustle together. Like I love the guy, but he just disappears, man. He's the friendly ghost.
I'm completely with you. I'm just, and again, I'm totally spitballing here. I don't know. The problem is there are no good answers. But I think I've always thought that Tobias, he's a guy who has always thrived or felt most comfortable with the ball in his hands, where he's kind of like your primary option type. I've always thought he would look good coming off the bench in a 6-man type thing, where he's kind of your offense.
I wanted to do it last year. I thought, yeah,
especially with them bringing Bogdanovich off the bench. It's almost like they're kind of similar players at this point. I mean, Tobias brings you a lot more on the defensive end and I don't know. I'm very interested to see. I don't have any answers. I'm curious to see what Nurse does.
Yeah. The other thing I would do too, from a strategic standpoint, is they got Embiid off early, like they unleashed him early. Now the rhythm of superstars is everybody else goes early, and then they start to take over as the game goes. I don't think I would. I don't think I would do that in game tonight. I wouldn't unleash the Embiid until later on. I would try to get other guys going before Embiid.
Well, so at least from what now again, I haven't gone back and like sat down and broken down the tape or anything like that. But in real time, I was thinking in this, and I might have tweeted this, but they were part of that was a function of Tibbs came out and for whatever reason decided that he was going to make Joel beat him, and they were really kind of focusing their efforts on taking away Maxi's driving lanes and denying the catch and shoot three, and Embiid, to his credit, took full advantage of that, and then they switched. So again, he went out, so it's a little difficult to tell and how limited he was when he came back. But after he went off, when he came back in for that second shift, the Knicks definitely switched up to more like a little more zone look, which is not their bread and butter at all. But they definitely they
can't play the matchup like Miami though. Like you see the difference. They just can't do it, and they don't have anybody that can stay in front of Maxey.
No, and then here's your other thing, and I think this was like an underlooked aspect of that game because of all that happened. But he needs to be a guy. Look, Maxey needs to be a guy where Nurse needs to convince him when Joel isn't on the court and Tobias isn't hot and Buddy's not getting loose. You keep the ball in your hands and go Dame Lillard the way Dame did last night, and just dribble, and it's a higher percentage shot if you're going to shoot at the end of the shot clock than if you pass to somebody who's going to brick a three or lose the ball or whatever. I think I think that happened because if you remember, early, at least the first shift in the second half, I think Maxey came out and like 3 straight possessions did exactly that, and like did not look very comfortable doing it, and it was pretty much 3 wasted possessions. But you got to get him to a point where he's comfortable with that. Like it goes against his DNA. He's a team player. He's deferential. He wants to play the game the right way. But I think for the Sixers to win the series, he's going to need to be the offense in those non-Embiid minutes.
Yeah, spot on. And you saw it, like you said, during that time period where he just broke down his defender every time. And he could do it.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like just no one's going to take the ball from you. Just it's interesting. He's so fast, and he's gotten better at it this year. But the thing that like the guys like Brunson and Harden, and I do think playing with Harden helped them, but he just needs to slow down a little bit sometimes, and like use the change of pace. Because if you're going at one speed, and Brunson does it better than anybody else, where it's like, and Jimmy Butler does it too, where it's just like, all right, I got the ball in my hands. The rules of basketball say that unless I, do something dumb, I'm going to have the ball in my hands. No one's going to take it from me. I can do whatever I want, get to wherever I want, and then, decide then. There doesn't need to be there does not need to be an offensive flow when Joel is out there. The offense can just be Maxey because we've seen it. There is no flow. I mean, ideally there would be. There just isn't.
David Murphy, columnist, Inquirer. What happens tonight, brother?
Dude, I got no idea, man. I really don't. I don't know what's going on with Joel's knee. I
know. It's I think a fair question.
I don't think he would be out there. I don't think he would be out there if there was something structurally wrong with it, or if they thought he could like make it worse.
Yeah, I saw Keith wrote about that. I was like, well, I don't think you're risking his future. I think it is what it is, right?
Right.
You're not risking his future. I mean, and I mean, God bless him, and I appreciate his nationalism, but I don't care about the Olympics. You care about a playoff run.
Right. Yeah, and look, like he's 30 years old. Like who knows how he might only, even if he's a normal player with a normal lifespan, he's probably only got 4 or 5 of these left.
Yes.
And then who knows?
Yeah, you can't just discard them. I agree.
No. And I know a lot of people said they thought he looked severely limited after he came back. I thought he was actually, at least when he first came back on the court, I thought I only really look at his lateral movement, and I think he looked like he was moving really well. I mean, on the defensive end. Now, he wasn't elevating. He was a little short on stuff. But I didn't notice like a limp or anything like that. I don't know. So I don't know. I think it all depends on that. I don't think we can never have the right information to make a call on that. And beyond that, I think if he's the guy he was in the first quarter, I think that the Sixers win this series and they could even win it going away, but if he's at all limited, it's like we say every year, then all of a sudden you're talking a serious toss up.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. Listen, enjoy the game. We'll be reading you, my man. Thanks for hanging with us as always, buddy.
Absolutely. See you guys.
There he is, David Murphy from the Inquirer. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY. You can stop at your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark today. Now it's daily grind time. Let's get on the grind. And I know this guy, he was in just a manic mode during the game between his thoughts pregame and before the series. And now as it's endured, let's go to our man brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook app, the Big Brain. Hello.
Brain. Brad, the Brain Feinberg.
Bradley. Oh, they got the glasses on. Look good, buddy.
How you doing, Anthony?
Are you recovered after that crazy? You were like insane.
It's interesting, Anthony. Like the game started out. The good news. I'm starting with the good news. Watching the Knicks, when they say, what was it, Dennis Green? They are who I thought they were. What's that his line?
Yep.
The Knicks, they are who I think they are. They're a team that plays hard. They have a bunch of role players. They have a star in Brunson who actually had a really bad game. And that McBride played great off the bench for them, but they're really not that good. So that's the good news to me.
Miles McBride was Rajah Bell 20 years ago.
Yeah, good name from the past. Yeah, he played well. He actually played well for them in general, to be honest. He did play well for them.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Knicks are really that good. And I got to tell you, I'm bombarded by people telling me how wrong. But the one thing I will say, and again, I heard David talking about it, Anthony, and I think it's fair. Again, I really think it's fair, is Embiid, and I don't think this is the same player we saw during before he got his injury in the regular season. I don't think it's, and that to me is the big concern. Yeah, the first quarter he looked good, 100%. I can't argue that.
He did. He looked dominant.
He looked great. Yeah, he looked dominant. Yeah, you're right. He looked dominant.
And then he had the scare.
Anthony, but listen, let me ask you a question. Again, it gets to be a point where, and again, I'm not criticizing him in the sense that the guy's a Hall of Fame player. He's a brilliant player, MVP, everything you want to say. Okay. And Anthony, I had the numbers right here. Just 8 of 22. 8 of 22. Shot 66 of 153 last year. Shot below 50% the year before. Career 45% in the playoffs. I mean, Anthony, that you can't. I got it again. And this is over.
I think those numbers are hogwash, and I'm going to tell you why. Because first of all, you're doing a cumulative effect from the early Embiid to now. Second of all, defense rules in the postseason. You start to sell out, and you try to sell out against Embiid because he's the best player. So of course, when you have surroundings and you have James Harden and you have Ben Simmons, you're going to collapse on Embiid. So of course he's going to shoot less in the postseason than he's going to shoot in the regular season.
I love you, and I have total respect for you. I don't think you're being fair. And I say that because look at other great players. I do. I love you, and I have so much respect.
No, I love you too.
Look at other great players.
We can totally disagree.
Let's just take Nikola Jokic, someone like that, who's, again, I'm talking about his peers, Anthony. I'm not talking about seventh men. I'm talking about his peers, his elite players. I'll tell you what, I'll give you the exercise. I'll do it. I don't have it in front of me, but I'll come on tomorrow and I'll do it. I'll look up the guys like Giannis, Jokic, Luka, and I'll look up the elite players. I'll look up their season stats, okay, versus the playoff stats. And I will bet you right now, make a big bet on this, that Embiid has the worst differential of any of these elite superstars.
My point to you is it's not a game, but you're looking at it against Pierce, which I get. My point is, I miss Jamal Murray playing with Joel Embiid. Like, I saw a flawed James Harden, and I saw a flawed Ben Simmons. I didn't see Jamal Murray. My only point to you is that when you're a slave by numbers, you miss the big picture. And part of the big picture is it's all about what's around guys. I just don't think he is a shrinking violet in the postseason. My point to you is that in the postseason, and if I got James Harden, who's got old legs, or I got Ben Simmons, who's afraid to shoot, I'm going to collapse on Joel Embiid. And that's how the flow of the offense goes.
Well, let me ask you a question again. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be fair. You don't think, would you say, if someone said this comment, would you say, oh my God, you need to be checked into a loony bin, that Jamal Murray and Tyrese Maxey are somewhat comparable players?
In 2024?
Yeah, I'm talking right now.
In 2024? Okay.
In 2024. Okay.
Not in 2023.
So, that's fair.
Not in 2022.
Okay, right. Well,
Not
I'm saying,
in 2021. So,
you're right.
like all the postseason numbers to me, I flush.
8 of 22 yesterday or 2 days ago.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying you can't throw away the games. Anthony.
Let me look at Jalen Brunson.
He was horrible. He was horrible.
Jalen Brunson shot 8 for 26.
He was horrible. He was brutal. But you know what, Anthony? I'm going to say two things about that. And I'm being fair. I will never be unfair.
I mean,
he's
a guard. It's a great debate.
He's a guard. He's a guard who shoots perimeter shots, whose field goal percentage inherently is always going to be significantly worse than a 7'2" big. Okay? You're not comparing apples and apples.
Face the basket, 7'2" big, who is in his 8 for 22 was 2 for 8 from 3-point land. He shot 2 for 8 from 3 because why? You can see at the end of the game he was gassed.
Yeah, 6 of 14 then, even if you want me to take that out. 6 of 14. My point being, Anthony, look, it's a no excuse league at this point, right?
This is the playoffs. For him. Yeah. Your bottom line is what? You want to trade him? Like, is that what your bottom line is?
No, my bottom, no, not at all.
Like early he was dominant, then he has a scare, right? And then the whole thing goes awry. And he was not good down the stretch like he was in Miami a couple days before that.
Look, the bottom line is this, is that they always say, Anthony, and I'm sure you've heard the saying a million times, the best ability is availability. And Embiid, say what you want to say, he's a tremendous Hall of Fame player. And again, I will stand on the rooftop saying the first 35 games of the year, he was the best player in the world this year. He had a historic season. He hit the all-time record for points per minute.
Forget the platitudes. We all understand
but I don't trust his health. I don't trust his health. No, I wouldn't, because you're never going to get fair value. But my point being is he's never, seemingly, this has been 8 years in a row, he hasn't been healthy in the playoffs. At what point do you just say?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, okay. You're right about that. He hasn't been healthy. And
for 8 straight years.
I'm with you. But the problem is, it's easy to go just trade him. Like, and again, I look at it and go, I don't want to, I want to ride it out because maybe there is a point where he's not, I'm going to trade him for less than value. And
no, I agree with that.
Like, what am I going to get?
I'm agreeing with you. Listen, I'm agreeing with you. I don't think there's any point in trading him because, first of all, like, I don't even know what you'd get for me. Because to me, if I'm another NBA team, and it's funny, as David said, he's 31 or 30 years old. I mean, how many more good years does this guy have? And it's not going to age great with being that kind of big guy. I mean, I would not. I'll tell you this. Let me ask you a question, Anthony. Let me ask you a question. And I know you're a huge Embiid fan, as we all are. You're a different team. I can't even give a specific name, but you're an NBA team. Are you trading your entire nut to get Joel Embiid? I'm not.
Well, of course, that's why you're not getting the value.
Yeah, I'm saying so.
They're going to steal him from you.
Yeah,
superstars
they're
never
this
get
guy.
value.
You're
Go
right.
back
they're
to Barkley.
The Hornacek,
Andrew Lang, Tim Perry.
Carmelo Anthony was, I don't remember what they got for him, the Knicks, Nuggets. But I always, look, I'm agreeing with you. They're married to this guy. But what I'm saying is, and I don't know the answer. I mean, I don't know how to just get him prepared for like game 83, right? When it's the playoffs start versus I don't care about the regular season at this point. I just wish he could somehow be healthy for the playoffs because in my opinion,
here's the sin of it, right? Like I thought he was on his way of being healthy, and then that play in the second quarter happened.
Yeah, that play in the second quarter happened.
I mean,
look,
like
I get it, but that changed.
freaked him out.
Everything.
Like you saw it freaked him. Because again, the first quarter he was unstoppable.
Listen, as I said, the good news is I feel extremely confident. Like David said it, and I agree with him. If Embiid was healthy, and I text you after he got hurt, I don't think the Sixers can beat this team if he's not. If he's what we saw after he came back, Anthony, I think the Knicks are clearly better. That's just my opinion. Because to me, the Sixers team is reliant on the best player potentially in the world playing effectively.
Like again, third quarter Embiid versus how he finished. Like I would mess with the rotation, and I wouldn't have him play the whole third quarter. Like he got him back in the game, right? Like they got back in the game with him on the floor. Fourth quarter, he just couldn't finish. He didn't have the legs and the gas to finish.
Do you remember?
So I would switch that up if I were Nick Nurse.
I think it was 4 years ago when they played Toronto when they lost on the quadruple bounce, right?
Yeah, cool.
I do remember that series. If you remember that series, I believe the Sixers in like the 10 minutes Embiid didn't play were like literally an average of minus like 19, like this plus minus. Look, for all the bad things I just said, I think he was a plus 21
in the game.
And they got destroyed in the 10 minutes without him.
Yeah. So Paul, and it was in the indicators, Paul Reed, who was the minus 21 for the game.
Yeah. And I mean, again, how much of that is just all Embiid? I don't know. It's hard to quantify it. But again, all this being said, Anthony, I like the Sixers getting 5. Now it's down to 5. I still like them getting 5 points tonight. I think that line's too high. All the bad stuff I just said, I think the line's too high, and it's going to be hard, in my opinion, for the Knicks to win this game by margin of 6 or more. Even if Embiid is compromised, use that word, I still think the Sixers keep this game close. I just don't think if this is what we're going to get from him, I don't think they're going to win 4 times. But if he looks like the guy
did you counteract your bet?
I bet a little on the Knicks minus 230 to win the series to get, now it's up to minus 3 something, so I'm not going to do that. But I do think, again, if Embiid is what we saw at the beginning of the game, I think the Sixers are the better team. But I just don't have the confidence right now that this guy is just going to be able to stay healthy for another 6 games or whatever it is. I'm just being.
That's fair. I mean, listen, it's impossible to say. I agree.
It's impossible to say.
It's impossible to say whether or not he can stay healthy. You're right. I can't say that. I mean, and the odds would say no. Like, you're a math guy. The math would say no. I mean,
but if he was healthy, I would go all in, like my hand of poker. If he was healthy, and I would go all in, the Sixers will win the series. Yeah. And I think it would be an easy win, actually. But I don't think he is. So it's like, that's what I mean. I know I'm playing both sides there, but again, if Embiid's healthy, if any Knicks fan wants to tell me the Knicks are better, I'm just not even going to argue. I'm just like, you're wrong. They're not. Yeah. But this version of Embiid, maybe the Knicks are going to win if this is what we're going to get out of him, because they need him to be good.
I'm with you. I love our conversations. I love our sports conversations. And this is the Daily Grind brought to you by Bet Parks and the Bet Parks Sportsbook and Casino app. You can find Brad at Brad's Best Bets. Brad'sBestBets.com. Nobody's like him. You got a couple picks?
I do. Let me bring it up right now on my computer, my friend. We got, D'Angelo Russell. I think this is a good one. D'Angelo Russell, over 15.5 points, 31-11 his last 42. Plus, Anthony, look, he shot horribly. He was like 1 of 9 from 3 last game. But he also, here's the key, Anthony. We always talk about process over result. Shot a ton, 41 minutes. 41 minutes. So he's playing tonight, okay? 31-11 to this over in general. He's averaging closer to 19. You want to make it 15.5? Sign me up. And I know I've talked about these two for forever and a day, every single show I'm on with you, but they keep winning. So I'm going to keep giving him out. Anthony Davis over 2.5 assists, 52-24.
Wow.
He averages closer to 4 assists a game. You want to make it 2.5? I'm going to take it. Donovan Mitchell over 4.5 assists, Anthony. 27-6, his last 33. Not a great matchup against Orlando, but I still like it. And here's an interesting one, Anthony. Max Strus. He's 14-6 to under 4.5 rebounds his last 20. And what I like about this is Orlando is by a wide margin the hardest team in the NBA for whatever reason to get a rebound against. And they've led like basically every month. This hasn't been like a fluke. Every month, Orlando's been the hardest team to get a rebound against. So Max Strus, the average is around 4.5 rebounds. But since Mobley come back, you remember Mobley missed a large part of the year, Anthony. His rebounds have gone down significantly. He's only gotten 14 last 20. He's gone under. I like him under 4.5 rebounds, plus was actually getting juice. And then in baseball, Anthony, Joe Ross is 23-9, pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, under 5.5 strikeouts. They made that a little bit too high. It should be 4.5.
Gotcha. Great stuff.
And I like the Sixers tonight. I like the Sixers tonight getting the 5.
Yes, there you go.
All that stuff I said, I still like the Sixers.
What's the money line?
Money line, let me bring that up for you, my friend. The money line, we got to run odds, money line, Sixers. Bet Parks, it's not bringing up on my Bet Parks. It looks like it's probably an average price of around plus 165 or so, 170. Should be able to find it in that area. I'd rather take the 5, though, because to me, I think there's a very good chance if the Knicks win this game, I think it's going to be close. I don't think they're winning the game by double digits. I'd much rather take the 5 than the money line.
All right. Sounds good, my brother. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Love you, big brain. See you, buddy. Great
Bye-bye.
conversation. Great debate. The whole stuff. I love it. He's a sportsman. Like, we talk about he's a betting guy, but he's really a sports guy. That's why I enjoy our conversations the most. But he's a betting guy, and all the stuff he gives you are really good. And you could find it on the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Yes. Download it, my friends. We love the Bet Parks Sportsbook Casino app. So all the things he just gave you, right, you could find right there on the app. Sixers money line, Sixers for the series, all your props that he gave you. I like his D'Angelo Russell over points just because he's going to get all kinds of looks. You know, like you could see Dame like he did last night. Look for that stuff. When no Giannis, somebody's going to score. It's playoffs. They're going to be playing minutes. This is your chance to attack the props. Attack the props. You could do that right there on the Bet Park Sportsbook app. They have everything. And while it's halftime, you can go play live casino blackjack, right? They have all your favorite casino games and live dealers right on the app. So download it right today. Win your first $10 sports bet, earn $125 in sportsbook bonus bets. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Bet Parks. Download the app, play along with us. Got to be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. You or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And let me talk about Primo Hoagies. It's game time. It's a perfect Monday night. Forget about cooking. Monday night is a perfect Primo's night. Good sports night, and you want sports food. Does it get better than Primo Hoagies for sports food? Of course not. Become a Primo Rewards member right now. And how about every Wednesday, $2 off Primo size hoagies? So you're getting together with your buddies, you're watching the game, kids watching. All right, stop at Primo's. Go to PrimoHoagies.com. There's a Primo's near you. It's for everybody, right? Like whatever it tastes. Like I know in my household, Anthony likes the meatballs. So he loves the meatball sandwich. Massimo likes the Genoa. So I get him the Genoa hoagie, right? My wife, she'll go with the Nona, the veggie. So Tam gets that. So it's all, I do the hot, the Diablos, whatever you want. It's right there. PrimoHoagies.com. Of course, all the sandwiches on that incredible bread, the seeded rolls that are just amazing. Check out PrimoHoagies.com. You'll say what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo. All right. We've reached the 10 o'clock hour across the program. And, man, what a week between Sixers playoffs, Sixers Knicks, Phillies off to a great start. Sweep of the Rockies and the White Sox. Ooh, the White Sox are bad. We'll get to the Phillies a little bit later on because they look really good. Sixers, Knicks, but it's an NFL time. All roads always go back to the NFL and the draft. We cannot wait Thursday is the draft, our 10 o'clock hour brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook app. And we welcome our man. He's grinding away. You want to talk about the daily grind? He's watching. His eyes are going sideways. He's watching so much tape. The one, the only, Baldy.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football. Oh, Baldy.
I see that. I see you got Piazzi in there. All right, cuz that's good, man. We'll keep that video growing.
Man, the more pictures you send us, they will be in that video, my brother.
Well, there'll be more coming for sure. There's a lot more adventures coming up. That's not going to stop.
Well, I noticed that background. I see you back in the friendly confines of NFL films in the office.
It's time to get serious, Gus. It's time to get serious. I got my my buddy our lads. You know, they sent me my draft guide here. So there's a lot of guys that I'm still kind of some day 3 type players. I'm kind of going through here, and so it's going to be a full day all the way up until Thursday. So I'll take advantage of all the time I get.
So a lot of GMs, I know they pick your brain. Everybody, listen. I have to give you credit here. I want to give you credit. The entire league watches Baldy's breakdowns. Players, coaches, scouts, GMs, all kinds of personnel, owners. They all watch Baldy's breakdowns, and they're all in on it. They're picking your brain because you're seeing nuance. You're breaking the damn thing down. What kind of sense are you getting about this draft? Will it be a trade draft? That's what it appears like. Quarterbacks now, I'm hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5. Like, what are you hearing now as we're now inside a week of the draft?
Well, not to knock the mock, and everybody's got their mock drafts, and we see the same names and a lot of the same names in the same places, over the last 2 months. Not to knock that, because I actually enjoy reading some of them, and I enjoy doing some of them, because it's a good exercise. It's good exercise. You start to get to know who's drafting, how many draft picks your teams have, who doesn't have a second round pick, who can trade up. So it kind of sharpens your skills when we start this thing on Thursday night. But, what we don't have is a lot of information. We don't have medicals typically. We don't have a lot of the stuff that teams are investigating, whether it could be red tape about a player or attitude or the opposite. Like some of these kids' backgrounds are unbelievable and what they've overcome. So we aren't really privy to a lot of this information, but it does look like 5 quarterbacks are definitely going to go in the first round. It does look like the top 3 wide receivers are for real. Whether it's Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. It does look like 7 or 8 offensive tackles could go in this first round. And so then you go, okay, so all I've mentioned so far is offensive players. So if you're looking for an edge pass rusher or a cornerback, I think there could be a lot of trades made to get one of the elite players at one of those positions. Because those are, I know you love the Andy Reid model of just building on the perimeter and, getting your edge, getting your corners, getting your receivers. I know you believe in that. So if you want to get some of those guys, you might want to trade up to get those in really a draft that looks like it's going to be top heavy with offensive players right now.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and it's also crazy. Like the rumors and the nonsense. Like I saw somebody report that that Harbaugh is going to trade Herbert.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I mean, come on. Out of your mind. Like he's going to trade Herbert, get all these picks, draft J.J. McCarthy and Joe Alt, and okay, all right. people are out of their minds. It is craziness.
It is, but that's a part of the fun, though. And then we all believe that Caleb Williams is going to be the first pick in this draft. After that, who knows? I mean, if you want to believe things about Washington right now and what they're thinking about, what the Patriots might do. So, I mean, outside of Chicago, and it used to be back in, not that long ago, when if it was a consensus of what the team with the first pick was going to do, they'd have that player already signed. They'd have him signed under contract. There wouldn't even be any kind of controversy whatsoever. But they don't do that anymore. Caleb will be Chicago's first pick. They're not going to trade it. They're going to take Caleb. But then really after that, anything could really happen at this point.
Yeah, I still, the Washington, I think would be foolish to pass up on Jaden Daniels. I
would too. Look, they brought Cliff Kingsbury in there to presumably put this offense together and coach the quarterback.
Yeah.
I've known Cliff for a long time. And, he had Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. He had Mahomes. He had Baker Mayfield. All right. He just worked with Caleb for a year at USC. He's been around some of the best young talent in this, that we have seen in the last 10 years. And one thing about Cliff, he wants to spread you out to run the ball. I mean, it's an air raid system. That's what he believes in. Now, you have to adjust the NFL. You've got tight ends. You've got short yardage situations, goal line. You've got to have those things. And he adjusted as time went on in Arizona. But I would want to believe that he would love to coach Jaden Daniels. He would love a guy that has that type of athletic ability, that he could take off with it. He could design runs, just like he did with Kyler Murray. So I feel like he would love that opportunity to coach him. And I think one of the reasons why he was scheduled to go to the Raiders, Antonio Pierce thought he was coming. And then, I think he started looking further down the road going, wait a second, Jaden Daniels is the Heisman Trophy winner. He's probably going to go number 2. Let me work with Jaden Daniels versus, I don't know, whatever the Raiders had on the roster at that time, Aiden O'Connell. I think that excited Cliff to go to Washington.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Let me make you Howie for a second, because I'm curious about where, what are the guys are you targeting, and also to fit your scheme, right? Because one of the things that you got Vic Fangio now, this is the defense that you've been running really since you've taken over the team again. When Howie took over the team, you've been running this kind of defense. It fits with your analytics. It fits with your philosophy, right? And now you finally got the mastermind of this defense, right? The guy who is the architect of this defense. So I think you have to go defense in this draft. You got to get a couple of pieces, and you got to get a corner. Who are the guys that you're looking at that would fit this defense?
Well, this is good. This is a good corner draft. I mean, I think there's 3 guys at the top. I mean, Terrion Arnold, when you watch him, he's almost 6 feet. He's 5'11" and 6'10". He's 190 pounds. He's got he's unbelievably active. He sees so much. His zone eyes are excellent. He just has, he's just in command. He wasn't the number 1 rated corner coming into the season, but the way that he played, his physicality that he played with, the way that he tackled, the way he played the ball in the air. I mean, Terrion Arnold, it's hard for me to believe that he's not the number 1 corner in this draft. But if you want to make a case for 2 other guys, Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo is bigger. He's over 6 feet tall. He's heavier. He's 195 pounds, and he's a lot faster. He ran a 4.33. He was the fastest outside of Nate Wiggins, who's next. I mean, he was fastest. So you look at the way that he played at Toledo. You got to project a little bit because it's the MAC, but we see good players come to that conference every year. Quinyon Mitchell fits the bill. When you watch him play, his ability to break on a ball, play man coverage, play off, ball skills, that's there. And then there's Nate Wiggins. And his 4.28 40, I mean, you can say, okay, straight line speed, that's nice. That guy can flat out run. And he's 6'1". He doesn't have the longest arms in the world, but he makes up for it with his length. I mean, he saves. He might not save lives, but he saves touchdowns. Like that guy will track anything down from anywhere on the field. Like I think those three guys are at the top. I like Cooper DeJean. I just don't think he's got the press man skills that you might want to have. Like he gets physical with you. He'll get his hands on you.
Yeah.
Like all that kind of stuff. I don't know that he can turn and run like Quinyon Mitchell and Nate Wiggins can turn and run.
Can Wiggins play space?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, you see them in a press position at Clemson like you did, but they're just press bail type guys. They're not really getting their hands on guys. I think a lot of these corners, including Arnold, I think they all have to kind of learn like how to get their hands on guys and the footwork that goes with that. So that because in the back of their mind, they don't want to get beat. So if they're trying to jam you at the line, typically what they do is their footwork is they use their athletic ability to make up for it. In this league, if you're trying to press A.J. Brown and your footwork isn't right, he's going to stack you and beat you, period. So I do think a lot of these guys, like I thought Devin Witherspoon last year knew how to play press man. He showed it this year in Seattle. I think he was better than any corner in this draft this year, just because of that ability. And then it showed. His hitting ability, tackling ability showed up in Seattle this year. But I think these three guys at the top, Arnold, Mitchell, and Wiggins, are pretty elite players.
So, you and I talk about, because we love linebackers. And we looked at San Francisco. We looked at Baltimore. We looked at Kansas City. And we saw teams that went deep into the postseason. And one of the common threads is they had game breakers at linebacker. What do you do? And if you're Howie, and you may not put all the resources in linebacker, but you got to unearth a couple deeper into the draft, who do you like? And where does, by the way, Baby Axe, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., where does he go? Because we're hearing, maybe third day?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I just had him on this morning, cuz Jeremiah Trotter Jr., 54.
Yeah, we're supposed to have him on later in the week, yeah.
He's not as big as his dad. He's 6 foot. He's 228 pounds. But he's a plate man. I mean, the guy's got 12 sacks.
I love him. Yeah.
He's got 4 fumbles. He's got tackle for losses. Like, he is a playmaking linebacker. He's up in the A gap like his dad, was in the A gap. He's making offensive linemen miss at the line. He's making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Like, Baby Trotter is a good football player. Now, he's not a day 3 player. I believe he'll be a day 2 player. But I don't know if any of these linebackers are going to go in the first round. Now, Peyton Wilson from North Carolina State is an elite player. He's 6'4". He's 233 pounds. He ran in the 4.4s. Now, he's had 2 ACLs. He had an ACL in high school, ACL at North Carolina State. He's had some shoulder issues. I don't know where the medical is at. That probably, if he didn't have those, he'd be middle of the first round. He'd be certifiable first round. But that might drop him in the second round. He is an elite player. He smacks you. Like, he can cover ground. He can cover. Edgerrin Cooper at Texas A&M is an elite prospect. Like, you could, because he's healthier than Peyton Wilson, he's probably the number 1 inside linebacker at Texas A&M. Like, this guy's, like, I think he had 18 tackle for losses. He had 8 sacks, just blitzing. His ability just to pressure the line of scrimmage, like, he's incredible. And then there's, Cedric Gray from North Carolina, who's a really good football player.
He is a good football player.
And then there's Maris Lifu from Notre Dame. Like,
Yeah.
You can get these guys in the second, all these guys I just mentioned, in the second or third round, cuz.
Well, and that's where I think the Eagles now, when you're looking at third and fourth round, this is where I think you have to address that spot. I really do. I think, we've seen a little bit of a sea change, and I think you need, short tacklers. I think you need linebackers to win, to have an effective defense in 2024. I think we've seen the pendulum tick back toward that.
Well, I mean, they did sign a bunch of linebackers for free agency. Now, N'Kobe Dean is still there. He's going into his third year. He's awfully undersized and has had a hard time staying healthy. But he does make a lot of plays when he's out there. They signed Devin White. All right, now Devin White had an injury last year, got beat out by KJ Britt, doesn't cover that well, except he's 4.45 speed at 245 pounds.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a linebacker in Philadelphia look like this in a long time. They signed Oren Burks. They signed Zach Bond. And in New Orleans, he's a Wisconsin linebacker. You can't go wrong taking Wisconsin linebackers. We just shipped the Eagles' best linebacker, Chicago, last year in TJ Edwards. He never came off the field. That's kind of what you want, cuz you want your linebackers. That's what you see in San Francisco and Baltimore. You see linebackers that play every snap. And if you want to spread you out in a 3-by-2 set, one's on his own side, one's on a man's side, they never left the field. I feel like maybe with what they have right now, if say they lined up with Devin White and N'Kobe Dean, you might not have every down linebackers right there. And maybe to your point, maybe you should go find a true 3-down linebacker.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, how he piecemeals that position, right? You take flyers on guys that are either past their prime or off injuries. And I get it. Like, you're looking for ceiling, right? So how he's looking for ceiling at that position, it may be time to actually, draft someone that again, I'm not asking you to go for, 2 or 3 of them. I'm saying give me one that I know is going to be I don't have to take off the field.
No, I mean, look, I don't know. They have N'Kobe Dean was a 3rd-round pick. People thought he was a 1st-round pick. He had a bad shoulder. Turns out he had a bad shoulder. Hasn't played a lot of football here yet. So can he be an every down linebacker? I'd like to see him stay healthy and see what he can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but look, I think there's plenty of opportunities in this draft right now to get that type of player. I mean, if you want to invest like this Edgerrin Cooper, I don't know. I mean, it looks like his medical is good. You watch that guy play. Like, he's just lightning in a bottle, and he would make your entire defense look fast.
I like Brian Thomas. Let's switching gears completely to the other side of the ball. I think because of neighbors, playing outside neighbors, I think gets overlooked. How do you break him down?
I don't know if he's overlooked, cuz I mean, generally he's kind of considered, after Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors, he's kind of the de facto number 4 receiver. There's probably going to be 7 taken in the first round. He's going in the first round. Now, it just depends on if there's going to be a run on receivers, if they're just going to fly off the board, if one of them is going to drop, that might drop. But he's either the 4th or 5th receiver, depending on what you're looking for right now, because he's got size. He's almost 6'3". He runs like the wind, and he's very, very smooth, and he's a good route runner. So he's got everything, all the traits you want to be a number 1 wide receiver, a 1st-round pick. But by the time we get through Thursday night, my guess is going to be 7 wide receivers taken. Buffalo's going to take one. Pittsburgh might take one. I mean, you could go through the teams. It's not that hard to figure out who's taking receiver. The Chargers might very well take one at number 5. Chicago might take one. They might forego. They might just say, let's just build around Caleb. Let's just get him the way they did with Joe Burrow a couple years ago. Let's just
You got Moore, you got Allen, get you another one. Yeah.
So Denver definitely needs a receiver for sure. Now, what they do, I'm not sure. But you could go through the list of these teams in front of the Eagles, and a bunch of them could easily take a wide receiver. Cincinnati needs a right tackle, but they're probably going to lose T. Higgins, and they've lost Boyd. So, they've got to kind of restock around Joe Burrow as well.
So here's my question, right? And this is just big picture. And look, do I think the Eagles are going to take Thomas? No, I don't. But just say he's there, and that's an area you don't need. But if he's the best player on your board, what do you do? I love your inside your head. And, I always say, and God bless you, because you have a zest for life, a zeal to live life. Otherwise, you should be running your own team. But like you like to travel too much to run your own team.
Yeah.
If you were running your own team, the Fighting Baldies, and you had the Eagles roster and Brian Thomas is there, what do you do?
Well, I'd like to know, okay, to your point, if I have my board stacked, where is Brian Thomas compared to Quinyon Mitchell or Nate Higgins?
So
where is Brian Thomas? Well, let me just throw one other name out there to you.
Yeah.
Where is your board? Where is Latu on your board? He's the best pass rusher in this draft.
Yes.
Like, I think he's an elite player.
So do I.
You just lost a very good player in Hassan Reddick. You can tell me about all these other guys that are on the roster. I don't see Latu on this roster of the Eagles. Like, I think that guy's going to come in and light this league up. But now, look, he's got medicals.
See, I didn't think he was going to be there, but you're right. The medical might.
Well, I mean, it might. I don't know. Like, he's just played 2 straight years at UCLA without any problems. And sometimes, the game got taken away from him. And they, and the University of Washington said, we will not clear you to play football. Okay. So you're talking to this Polynesian kid who loves football. It's in his background, and they say you can't play. So what do? All right. So you work out, you take the year off, you transfer, you're at UCLA, you get cleared, you go out there and you dominate the Pac-12. You watch him play. He's just the guy just knows how to win, and he can play anywhere. He can be your outside linebacker, like TJ. Like, my comparison to him, I'm not saying he's going to be this guy, but he reminds me of TJ Watt.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Like the effort, the size, like almost identical size. He's faster than TJ. Like, you watch him move, you watch him intercept passes, you watch him drop into coverage, you watch him line up in different spots at a 3 technique, you watch him stack and shed guys, use his length. I mean, the only reason why he's not talked about as a top 10 pick is because, like, he missed a year and a half because of his neck. And one team said, and everybody looks at these injuries differently. UCLA, Chip Kelly, UCLA said, come on, we'll take you. And he was the best player in the Pac-12.
Wow, man, he would be, yeah. No, that's why, like, it's so interesting how this thing goes, because you don't know how this draft will go. It should work in the Eagles' favor looking for defense.
Yes.
Just because of all the quarterbacks and like you said, the receivers. But that Thomas, man, I think is a stud. I love that kid. And I think he's great value.
Point, all right, so let's just finish the thought here. And because you say, all right, first of all, you should never turn down a great football player. If you think a guy's going to be a great player, I don't care if you've got AJ and Devontae and all these guys they've signed off the street. Like, okay, great. If you got a great player at that position, now eventually, like, they just signed Devontae, so he's here. But AJ might not be here. Like, you don't know what his contract's going to be up soon. Like, would they replace an AJ Brown, who's been terrific? And I'm not advocating, but you don't know what the contract situation is going to be like next year, the year after that. Injury situation. You get a chance to get a great football player. You find a way. You become a 3 wide receiver team. You're 10 personnel team. I mean, you just find a way to get your best players on the field. I'm sure that they'd find a way, in Kellen Moore, to get a guy of that, that athletic ability and size and everything else onto the field. So I wouldn't say it's out of the question. It's not their biggest need for sure. But if you're just saying, let's just accumulate great football players and we'll adjust, then that's not a bad philosophy.
Yeah, it's so interesting because obviously, I'm taking if I got Latu, if I got one of the Keenan Mitchell, like I get a corner there, I'm going to go with the corner or the edge. But it's just crazy if those guys are gone and my best value is a receiver, and you go, wow, I should be taking receiver, but I can't pass them up. It's part of the beauty of the draft. So
it is. But there's one other player. Like, if this Troy Fautanu somehow slips, like, he's the left tackle at Washington. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl guard, and I
Yeah.
think he's going to end up playing guard in this league. Like if he somehow slipped past Seattle at 16 and you're out, and you know for a fact that Stoutland loves him. You just know it. You could just tell a Stoutland type guy. Polynesian, powerful, runs good, great hands, like got a nasty disposition. Like if he got past Seattle at 16, like, I mean, if I'm Howie, I'm at least making a phone call, to, in front of with Jacksonville or somebody, because Jacksonville could show, like, if that guy somehow is there in the middle rounds, 15, 16, 17, I'm thinking about going up there and make my offense line the best offense line in football.
That's a great point. That's why you're Baldy. So Thursday, what are you doing for the first round?
So I'm going to be up at the Jets on
Right.
Thursday. They picked number 10. Now, I don't know what Joe Douglas is going to do. Nobody knows what Joe's going to do yet. But if they make a pick at 10, they've got a big draft party going on up there, and they're broadcasting this thing out to Jets Nation. I'm going to break down their 10th pick. All right. So, they've given me the space, the time. I got all the potential players they could take.
You're going to be in New York, or you'll be in the NFL Films?
I'll be up at the Jets facility.
Yeah.
And I'll be come down late that night. I'll join you on Friday morning, kind of reviewing the first round. And then I'm catching a jet to Los Angeles, and I'm going to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after the draft each day out there at the network.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
I'm excited.
It's awesome.
Wednesday,
it's
really exciting.
Our final mock, Meat Locker mock, Wednesday.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Let's go through it. Yeah.
The whole thing. Meat Locker mock. Whole thing.
Let's do it. We'll go 1 through 32.
What do you think Sixers tonight?
I like the Sixers. I think Jalen Brunson is an unbelievable player. I mean, he's unbelievable. And I think he's been snubbed all year long. I just figure out a way to slow him down. And I like the Sixers' chances.
All right. Big guy stays healthy, and that's what you need. You're the greatest, buddy.
Thanks,
the
cuz.
one, the only Baldy.
I'll see you. I'll talk to you on Wednesday, cuz. Look forward to it, buddy. Thanks.
You're the best. Love you, buddy. There he is, the great Baldy. Brian Baldy, you're checking in. That's going to be our big week, draft week. I love draft week. We love it, JP. It's fantastic.
Playoffs, draft. What a great week.
Yeah, it's great. How about Dame last night? We didn't even talk about that. We have a lot to talk about in the clubhouse.
Yeah, we
got VG to come in. But you got a couple things you want to tell us about?
Yeah, we got a couple of sponsors that we got to thank here today. We're going to start off with our friends over at Mortgage CS, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, it's springtime. It's a time where everyone's been waiting for some of those prices and interest rates to go down. Why not think about Mortgage CS when you're thinking about looking for a house? Like we mentioned, they do offer some refinancing options, including rate and term refinances for rate payment reduction or cash out refinances. To tap into home equity, making it smart choice for those with high interest debt or funding home projects and education. Like we mentioned, that spring market, it is here, ladies and gentlemen. Many of the clients are reaching out as they want to be ready for when the rates do drop. But isn't that what everyone else is doing? And that's why you want to stick with Mortgage CS. And you may be wondering, what does Mortgage CS stand for? It stands for Concierge Service. It is a white glove service, and it's an independent mortgage broker that is based right here in Philadelphia, but they are available coast to coast because we all know that we have some Philadelphians all throughout the country. So they are making sure they are taking care of you. They like to educate and empower their clients, and they are here to help the clients obtain ultra competitive rates. It's extremely important. Like we mentioned, they're a white glove service. They have exceptional customer service and are available 24/7. If you guys are watching live on YouTube, you could see Ben Stucker, the CEO. He's got his phone number there. Make sure you guys text him. Ask him, what's he thinking about tonight? Game 2? Or are they going to bounce back? How's he feel about JoJo?
That's no burner Ben.
I love that. His number is right there, 267-391-7425. Send him a text or email him at ben@mortgagecs.com. You can get in contact with Ben, ask him any questions about Philly sports or about the home buying experience. Or you can also check Mortgage CS online as well. Check them out at mortgagecs.com/PHLY to get started today. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit Mortgage GS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS ID 1464766. Visit mortgagegs.com for more information. It is 10:35 here across the Delaware Valley. I want to take a quick second to thank everyone for taking their time out of the day for watching the Anthony Gargano Show. If you guys are watching live on YouTube, do us a solid. Hit that like button and subscribe. When you hit the subscribe button, hit that bell button as well. You will know exactly when the Anthony Gargano Show will be live. And of course, we are available wherever you stream podcasts as well. Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. Rate and subscribe. We would truly appreciate that. And of course, if you want to be a part of this family, it's very simple. You just got to be a diehard, ladies and gentlemen. You get exclusive content. You get discounts on merch, and you get to be a part of that great Discord community that we got going on there. So you can reach out to some of the talent that we have here at PHLY. And like I said, you become part of the family. The best part is that PHLY locker. We got some great merchandise, including the new 4for4 t-shirt for the Cuz himself. So guys, make sure you guys check out the PHL locker and be a part of this family. It wouldn't hurt.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. We're going to come back. Clubhouse. JP, VG, best and worst of the weekend. We'll talk about Tyrese Maxey being questionable tonight with an illness, according to our own Kyle Neubeck. We'll get into all of it straight ahead and get you prepped for Game 2 tonight from the Garden. This is the Anthony Gargano Show right here on the All PHLY Network, All City. Welcome back. Anthony Gargano Show. JP, VG, John Zapata, Greg Caputo. Violations, Greg. This segment is brought to you by Rite Aid. That's right. Find all your favorite goods from the store nearest you, your neighborhood Rite Aid pharmacy. All right, so the story right now this morning, Tyrese Maxey not feeling well. He's ill. Do we have the flu game incoming tonight? Look at that face. I know it. The face of dread.
Should have brought their own food. Probably eating something up there in New York, not settling with the stomach.
The rats.
How it goes. Yeah,
the infestation. The disease.
Some rat turds probably on the utensils up there or something.
Yes.
The rats got Maxey sick.
Yeah, man.
Or the bed bugs in the hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe at a chopped cheese. Yeah, that's what it does.
Yeah, that's it. That'll do it too. Those chopped cheeses probably undercooked by those bastards up there.
Yes. Well, listen, he's questionable. I mean, it's Maxey. Like, so
Yeah, I mean,
you got to do whatever you got to do to get right. I don't know what kind of illness it is.
I gotta believe they got some kind of stuff from Rite Aid, and we can ship up some Rite Aid stuff to get these symptoms under control
Marge
and get
got
them on
Maxey.
the court.
Yeah, Marge. Marge from the we need you, Marge from Rite Aid. Look, let's talk about it. Confidence level. You heard the conversation with Brad. We had a good debate.
Ooh, that was testy. The chat room was a little. Some people were taking Brad's side, feeling like you were a little aggressive with Brad on there.
No, it's a great. I think it's a great debate. Honestly, I don't believe so. My testiness, or really, it's. I love the debate part of it, but the debate part of it from my side comes from. I don't believe you can quantify. Brad's a numbers guy, and I love him. He's a sports guy first, but he likes to rely on numbers, and I don't believe in numbers.
And he's looking at numbers, like you said, from 3 years ago when the supporting cast has not been nearly as good.
And I don't believe that you can quantify what Embiid means through numbers, right? I don't believe that. I don't believe that you could say, now, listen, the obvious if you're arguing against the Embiid thing, and there's a lot of people, and I don't fault you. I just I don't subscribe to that theory that wants to move him or have wanted to move him. I may have Vinny Pellegrini. Right, who's our ops man here at PHLY? He's been wanting to move Embiid for the last 2 years.
He's a trade him guy.
Oh yeah, he's been a trade him guy. Vinny's like listen, move on. And believe me, I get the argument. I think there is another side. I just don't subscribe to the theory. I think you got to transcend the talent. You take it. Well, let's see what happens, and you pray that health is there.
Vinny is not alone. At the pub, man, when he went down, it was ugly. There were a lot of, mostly,
this is why
we're old heads, but old heads were like, we're done. We can't ever win with them. Should have traded them when we had the chance. It was like multiple echoes of that, man. But then they see him on the court coming back in, and they're just like, whoa, yeah.
I mean, you should see he's a presence. Like, it's just a mindset. When he's out there, you feel much better because you know what he brings. Even like at 50, 60, 70%, you know exactly what he brings. He's just a presence out there.
I mean, look, it's almost the luck of the draw, right? Like when they went through the process, first of all, I wanted Wiggins, right?
Yes.
And
winless for Wiggins.
At that point, Wiggins he projected as the face the basket guy. And, Embiid was fresh, right? Only played the game a handful of seasons. Cameroon, we know the whole story of Embiid. And he gets hurt, and you get lucky that you get Embiid. Bigs and injuries.
It's tough.
It's a part of the narrative.
Yeah.
It's a part of it. And I feel all right, man. If Miles McBride beats us in this series, so be it. Like, who could plan on that? I mean, it's such a fluke thing happening, him having that game. What's he average during the year? 6 points, 8 points? So, I mean, if he beats us, then it's just not
Josh Hart hit,
oh, my God.
3 backbreaker threes.
He doesn't do that.
Kyle Lowry, God bless him.
He stepped up.
Played his ass off.
He's my best of the weekend. Like, he was everything we've wanted and we needed in this playoff run. He came
secondary
and played,
ball handler. Yeah. Like, he was
he had the grit. Like, he looked like he had a guy who'd been there before.
Yeah.
And,
He's having a little resurgence, too. It's great to see, especially for us.
Yeah.
Well, because you need him because of the other hole, which is Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like he's afraid to even put a shot up.
Well, how much is it, too, that he misses 2 shots, you don't see the game? Like, if he doesn't hit a shot, you got to believe that one of these nights he goes off, I think.
When we say off, you think like 3 for 6? Is that a good
4,
offer?
Yeah, I'm saying like 4.
I'm thinking 4 or 5.
He's got it in him.
Like a Batum night, like the other night, like a Nico night.
You can live with that. Because I agree.
But the problem is he Korkmaz who does it once every 6 games? Or is he going to do it 1 every 3 games?
It feels like a 1 every 6 game
I know,
right now.
Right.
It's almost like there even might be a burner count out there. You see that on Twitter? They're complaining about, like, how are you supposed to get into any rhythm when you get no playing time? And
well, I mean, in fairness, yes.
right.
Like, You get 2 shots, and the next thing you know, you're banished.
And we talked about it. 31 minutes for Tobias Harris. Healed in the fourth had 5 minutes. Let me get the full game here, but I mean, yeah, when we're talking about 31 minutes for Tobias, Buddy Hield had 10 minutes the entire game, almost 11.
But
And he
5 in the
took, what,
fourth
2
is
shots?
Yeah.
5 in the fourth is substantial for Buddy.
Yeah, I don't like.
10 in the
Actually, I would
full
limit
game, though.
Like I would limit. I don't. You know, to me, I want like, especially with him. Not, if he's shooting the ball, then go play 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But if he's not shooting the ball, then I'd like to see those minutes in the third. I think Nick needs to tweak the rotation. I've been saying that all morning.
Yes.
You know, with how you manage Embiid, with Tobias playing 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Look, you closed the game out against Miami without Tobias in the game.
Shooting was definitely a problem, but the bigger problem is that offensive rebounding. It's got to be much better here in game 2.
Well, yeah.
Protecting the defensive.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just effort for the most part,
Yeah.
energy, effort. But you and I had talked. I think we disagree. I would try a little length. I would try B-ball Paul at the 4 for a little bit defensively. I know he's clueless IQ-wise, but I mean, he gave you 5 boards in 11 minutes when he was out there. I think he's athletic enough to cover the 4s on the Knicks. And if you're going to spell Embiid, I'd rather have Obama come out and spell Embiid.
Has to be in the back pocket. Has to be like a situational thing, in my opinion, because like I think that Joel out there, if like I said, that presence, but if he's out there, I think it'll fix a lot of that offensive rebounding. But if it's where Mitch Robinson just grabbing every single board,
Yeah,
Josh Harris
listen,
getting to
I'm not
it, then
against
run the
matching
Twin
up.
Towers.
You know, you want to, do Bamba. You want to do
Just keep the
Paul
card in
Reed
your
at times.
pocket.
But listen, you love Paul Reed's a lovable kid, right? But the problem with him is he just gets lost on you.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's just
Make some boneheaded decisions.
he's out of position. So you got to manage that.
Yeah.
You got to manage, and Bamba is interesting to me because he can rebound, he get bored. So,
He's a rim protector and he can board. I mean, if you get it at it for like 8
and
minutes
it all depends on who they have on the floor.
Yeah.
The other issue is you have Nico, who I like Batum. I like he's an effort guy all the way. Defense, rebounding, and he's not going to have those nights against Miami, but I know he'll give me defense and rebounds.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the length. I would like to see Embiid and B-ball Paul out there for a little bit, see how that plays out.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. See if Jalen Brunson, obviously we saw it was a good job in that first half, the way we shut him down. You're not going to be able to shut him down every game as well, though.
Well, that's the thing, right? So this is the trade-off. Mm-hmm. So McBride has the go-off game. You have Josh Hart, the go-off fourth quarter, which negates Brunson. Now, Sixers, nobody can guard Maxey. Now, we'll see what kind of illness and what kind of shape he's in, but no one can guard Maxey. Then what? What else you have?
On the Sixers side?
Yeah, like who's the go-off guy?
Ricky Council.
Well, that's it. Like you need, like against Miami it was Batum.
Yeah.
You got to foster that. And that's Oubre, I think.
It is Oubre. Oubre's starting, right?
Yeah.
So he's coming up.
But you need him to go off.
Yeah, and I've been betting his overs every game. I mean, they're 10 points, and he's barely getting the 10 points. Yeah. So we've seen so much better out of him in the stretch of the last month.
You're going to need somebody, again, the supporting cast. And then off the bench, look, they got smashed off the bench.
Can't happen. 42-7.
Yes.
Nah, I can't happen.
And this is a Knicks bench since Randall went down. I pulled up this stat this morning. Randall went down on January 29th. This Knicks bench has ranked 19th in the league in scoring.
But that's what I said. Like
They're
I
not
said,
an effective bench normally.
Going into the series, I thought that was going to be our strength. I felt our bench was better. I felt like we had more depth than the Knicks in game one. The Knicks bench stepped up big.
Yeah, we were feeling good about our role players and bench players here.
Yeah,
got
smoked.
A lot of love for Ricky Council, Eddie Wright, Anthony Shantz, like a lot of love for Ricky.
I mean, if Tank McBride's going to do that, I mean, who's to say what Ricky
Maybe
Council
some KJ.
does?
Yeah,
I'm more on the Council side.
Oh,
I don't know about KJ in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm just giving you what everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes back to, listen, you know what Tibbs is going to do. This is the Miami zone thing, right? Tibbs is attack the glass. Attack the glass. They don't care about runouts, which you got to make them pay too. You got to clean the defensive side and then run out to make them pay. because they're going to attack and blitz the offensive glass. And what that does is that demoralizes you.
Yeah.
Another possession.
Another one.
Another possession. Another possession.
Yeah.
Another possession. You're like,
Right. And they were in the zone at times. The zones are very difficult to rebound out of because you got guys all out the 3-point line guarding. So, you know, it's a little
let me
tougher
ask you
in the
guys
zone.
something. I'm not one of these guys. I hate like bringing up referees when we're talking about breaking down games. Where were you guys at with some of these calls? Because there was just some missed calls.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't too concerned with the refs. or the game.
you can't worry about refs.
I was looking at the tweets. Everyone's complaining about the refs. Like at the end of the day, you got to take care of what's in front of you.
I mean, listen, the refs are refs.
Yeah.
I never look at that stuff.
Fans are always complaining about the refs.
Speaking of fans, let's get into this now a little bit.
Let's do it.
And then we'll do best and worst of the weekend and back in the day moment. But so Andrew, our producer, Andrew Frazier, was in New York.
That I was.
You were in Manhattan. You went to, where was your day? You spent your day up there.
We went to Medieval Times, which is in Lyndhurst, New Jersey. And then after that,
Did you have some grog?
I did.
Did you?
Big 32-ounce grog. It was great.
Oh, wow.
Ate chicken with my hands, corn on the cob, potatoes. Actually, it was really fun.
People love the media. One day we need to do a show because the Medieval Times I don't get.
You're a Game of Thrones guy too, right?
Yeah, I love Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you don't want to live the life of a Game of Thrones for the day?
I'd rather live in, like, if I got to live in ancient times, I'd rather be in ancient Rome because I'm drinking wine.
There you go. There you go. The gladiators and all that stuff. I love that.
Did you wear any chainmail?
I did not dress up. No, I was thinking about it, but at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into New York City. I don't want to look like a peasant or a knight going in there, but I'd probably fit in regardless of what I wore.
So where did you watch the game from?
So we went into New York City, and then we went into this place. It's called Spin. It's like a ping pong.
Yeah, we got one here in the
place.
city.
Yeah, and so they had the game on there on all the big screens there. So we were watching it from that. It was a lot of fun. Saw Embiid go down. A buddy who was with us, he was a big Knicks fan, so he was like, "Oh, Embiid," and it's just like, dude, relax. He's been dealing with it. He's gonna be fine. He came back and all that stuff, but. It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. All the Knicks fans walking around, chirping. They had their shirts on, those blue shirts that they got for the series and all that stuff. And every once in a while I was going, "Go Sixers, go Sixers," trying to yell back at them and, give it to them. But it was fine, other than that, New York City.
Were you ping-ponging while the game was on?
I was.
You can't pong. You ponged?
I did. So,
oh, dude, that's a violation of
during
pong.
the game?
You can't pong during the game.
Well, it was right in front of me, so I was ponging and looking at the same time.
You can't pong and watch a game.
You can't watch the ball
That's a
on TV.
violation. Violation.
Out on the
I
ping
know
pong
you're
during
with
the
your
game.
girl. Let's go ping ponging. That's a violation. It's game one of that series. No,
Yeah, did you even
pong.
see the self alley oop, or were you too busy ponging when that happened with Embiid?
I was ponging.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw him grab that knee, I walked away, man.
That's
They
a
were up.
violation.
They were up big too in the first, and the guy who I was with, who was the Knicks fan, I was like, "Oh, this game's in the bag." Yeah, and I went to the pong, and then all of a sudden they came back, and my foot in my mouth.
He's calling
game
it
of run,
early.
son.
Games in the bag. Ponging.
No good. Now, Violet, we gotta clean you up.
Keep him out of
Too
New
much.
York.
Like when you gotta. This is where you gotta flex. Playoffs
Yeah,
with your girl. You gotta flex playoff for you.
I need to. You're right.
All right.
You gotta
Now,
focus.
JP was also the Knick fans and freaking out over the fans. But you said it. We're the same people. We really are the same people. We're family. All right. I hate to say. Now, you may hate that side of the family.
How come they don't get the national scrutiny like we
They
do?
do. People not like us because we care even more. But they get it. They get it. Too.
We say
Like,
F you to an opposing fan, and we're all over ESPN, ABC, you name
Well,
it.
They control the narrative. New York, Connecticut controls the narrative. They're not going to slam their own people up there. They pick on us.
that's a good point.
That is a
You
good
make
point.
us the scapegoat.
Oh, man.
I would believe we have better. I don't want anyone to do this, but I think we have better fire lighting skills. Like they couldn't get that Embiid jersey
on
lit.
fire.
They needed an
Yeah.
accelerant or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
No, VG, since...
that would be a problem here.
And again, this is my gripe. My gripe was the cheering the injury, right? Since Michael Irvin in Philadelphia, have we cheered on an injury publicly?
I don't know if we've ever
When does it happen?
Yeah.
Like, give me the time.
talking about the 90s.
Give me but give me the injury that occurred in a big game and we didn't cheer.
That's a good point too.
Super Bowl.
We have to dig. Well,
Super Bowl.
that's
when
not-
I saw Patrick Mahomes go down before the second half of that Super Bowl, and I thought he wasn't going to come back. I was
I'm
happy.
talking about
but we
a
weren't
home
home.
game.
Yeah.
That was a neutral site. I know.
Listen, we're all not going to cheer injuries because we love sports, and you can't cheer injuries if you love sports. It's not right. That's a mortal sin. Like, you don't do that. You go to hell if you sports hell.
Karma.
If you cheer,
Karma's for real.
you don't
with
do
stuff.
that. But it's not in your DNA. But let's face it. Like, if it happens here, what do you think's happening? Stop.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. Listen, that's the price that comes when you over love, and you're into it. It's just part of it.
I will say, I don't know if we'd be cheering the we won Boston. I think we're a little.
that's just the
we're
Knicks.
a little fearful or
Well,
leery
they did
going
the
into this with
same-
his health. If we won game one, we're not chanting, let's go
They
Boston.
did the same
That
in
was a little
21.
premature.
Oh, dude, we would certainly, if he wasn't hurt, I could totally
After one win in the series.
I think
could
everyone's
see.
a little afraid of that knee going down at any moment.
Right, but no, I'm saying if you have a clean Embiid
Oh.
and you're not worried about it,
Is there such thing? I don't even think
No,
that
I
is
could-
in anyone's
I could
mind.
see
to
it.
see
well,
Embiid.
well, when you
We have
have
PTSD
suffered, when
from
you
it.
suffered like us,
Yeah.
I'm just talking for them. Listen, they're stupid. Like, this is ridiculous.
All right, we can agree on that.
Like, this
Yeah.
is idiotic.
They're
Like, we
not
want
smart.
Boston.
Yeah.
By the way, Dame Time showed up last night.
Finally showed up.
So before we start,
35 and a half.
I mean, before we start going, Boston,
Right.
Dame's got something to say.
The Pacers had like 42 at halftime. And he
Yeah,
had
and all of a
35.
sudden, I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, they couldn't do anything.
No, not a fan of those Pacer canary yellow uniforms either. They look
No.
bad on the court.
All right, give me our back in the J moment brought to you by Rite Aid. That's right. Find your favorite goods at your local Rite Aid pharmacy.
All right, I'm going to give you, because obviously it's a big week in Philly sports. We have the draft, we have playoffs. I'm going to give you one from the draft, one from the playoffs. Draft is going to sting just a little bit. So we're going to go all the way back to 1995. And who was selected? It was Warren Sapp, 12th overall.
Oh, my God.
And yes, cuz.
Oh,
Yes,
my
yes,
God.
yes.
The combine warrior himself, Mike Mamula.
The Bucks traded down from the 7th overall pick. And of course, the Birds took Mike Mamula, but we have to go with that one. And of course, Warren Sapp then came back in 2002 and beat the Birds at the bat.
That's all right.
April 22nd,
gotta go there.
1947.
He
We're going to go
does.
to the Philadelphia Warriors because they defeated the Chicago Stags 83-80 in Game 5 to bring home our first basketball championship to the city of Philadelphia.
Wow.
We won
the
that
Chicago Stags.
4-1.
It's
Yeah.
a good name, the Stags. I like the
Stags.
Stags.
You like the Stags?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
What year was that?
That was 1947.
Wow. All right. All
going
right.
back
I like
in
that.
the
It's going
day.
back in the day. All right. Best and worst of the weekend. Your best, you said it.
It's Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
He balled out for us. He was everything we've hoped he would be in the playoffs. And yeah, you can't ask for any more from him. I could have asked for one more assist. I had his over 2.5 assists. He got a 2.
All right. JP.
Best, I'm going to go obviously personal. So as we know, I was at the Bad Bunny concert on Friday. But you know what was awesome to see there? The fact that the Phillies smoked the White Sox 7-0. And who do we have at the Bad Bunny concert? Brandon Marsh, Christian Pache, and Gregory Soto go over across the street to watch the concert.
That's cool.
I was stoked.
Yeah, like
I was
it.
stoked.
Well, I wanted to say best of the weekend was the Phillies. The near no by Wheeler on Saturday. We were all having the same conversation. And yes, I texted the group saying, if you're not paying attention, like if you're ponging like Andrew, that Wheeler's got a no-hitter. Listen, I mean, listen, we're texting it. If you're watching it together, you don't say anything. But you're texting like, yo, dude, you got to take. Now they want to say I jinxed it.
You jinxed it.
Yeah.
You
As soon
mentioned
as you
it.
said it, he got the hit.
It's actually
He was the
tough.
only
No,
person
it
in
wasn't.
all
It
of
was
Philadelphia.
like 5
who said
minutes.
it.
He actually went through scoreless inning.
The entire city.
And then he got
had-
to the 8th.
The entire city did not mention it. You texted it. Boom. Hit.
Yeah.
Over.
And then he went, now, here's the one thing, too. I'll raise my hand on that. You know who's the happiest man on the planet?
Yeah.
Topper.
Hopper.
Because everybody kept saying, what's he going to do? You can't take him out.
Yeah, Topper.
And his pitch count was high.
As soon as that ball made contact, Topper was already at the top of the stairs.
He was a real violation. He was like, no hitter. No hitter.
Yo, everybody, you see he's got a no hitter going?
Yeah. I have to say this. Wow. The rotation is good.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's
Turnbull.
stupid right now.
I mean, Sanchez with that top three.
Put Taiwan Walker in the bullpen.
What are you
8
doing?
and 2 in a homestand.
What are you doing with Taiwan?
No, you put him in the
Ty,
bullpen.
See ya.
No, he threw.
He's on the side.
Is that
man.
a Tobias Harris? No, we haven't seen enough of him.
He threw
Tobias Walker.
He threw 102 pitches yesterday. Taiwan Walker, 2 swing and misses.
Yeah.
It's bad right now, Lehigh Valley.
No.
God.
I leave him. I don't care how much I pay him or whatever it is. They're good. They're really, really, really,
fun.
really, really good.
The bats are coming around. Hey,
Listen,
Rojas,
I know how bad.
Rojas. You see his numbers?
Yeah, I did. No.
He needed some bats against AAA teams. He got it
I
this
know the
week.
Rockies and the White Sox are, especially the White Sox. The White Sox are dreadful.
They're bad.
Their lineup
Yeah.
is putrid, right? They stink.
They have
have
like one player over
Jimenez.
200.
Yeah, and he just got back. He was hurt. And he hit the home run off Nola. Nola pitched great. Like, listen, Phillies are good. 10-game road trip.
Yep.
Cincinnati.
Rojas hitting 429 his last 10 games.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to send him down. You got to give him props.
Get the
without-
Rojas
without a
jersey.
All right, worst of the weekend. What do you got? JP, go to you first.
Obviously wanted to say the Knicks fans, but that'd be too easy today. So I'm going to go with Kevin James. So we had the Stanley Cup playoffs going on. The Canucks had Kevin James in the stands, and I'll call a violation on this. Kevin James,
King of Queens?
yeah, he was in Vancouver.
Canucker?
He was. Listen, first off,
Is he shooting a movie there?
First off, I thought he was a Knicks fan. My man was wearing a Bucks, the tracksuit jacket. And then his buddy had the Canucks jersey and he gave it to him. And Kevin James is standing up. He's like, yeah, let's go Canucks. Woo! He was all happy.
I thought he was Mr. Ranger.
I'll send him
so
the
weird.
group chat.
First of all, the Rangers are in the playoffs, right? They're a top seed, and you're at a Canucks game?
I thought he was a Knicks fan too, though.
He's a fugazi. You know, I have to say this. That's a stone fugazi.
Bucks track jacket. He's going to grab the
He's
Canucks
Mr.
jersey.
New York. He's Knicks, Rangers,
like, yeah, look at that.
Yankees.
Look at that.
Or no, Mets.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
Queens. Yeah, he's a violation. When he was doing the movie,
The Sean Payton one?
yes, whatever it's called.
I forget the name of
yeah.
it too.
So he was doing the Sean Payton movie. I had him on, and I was talking to him, and I was trying. I don't even think I aired the interview because it was so
That bad?
embarrassing. Well, he's not a true fan. I was trying to go deep XO. He didn't go. He couldn't go. He couldn't go there.
He don't seem like an Exco guy.
He's
Dude,
too Hollywood.
he was Mr. in King of Queens. All he did was sports all the
Yeah,
time.
his 2000 movies, he wore a lot of New York sports gear, like the Mets.
Well, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That was the show.
Yeah.
He was a UPS guy. He was an ups man, like our ups man.
Love the ups, man.
Yeah, I love the ups man. He
And
was an
women.
ups man, and what happened? Like, big sports guy, but he don't know Jets.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's what it was.
He was a
Jets.
Jets
Yeah,
guy.
Jets, Mets guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Because
weird.
that's Queens.
Home
But-
Team was the name of the movie.
Home
by the way.
Team.
Yeah,
Home Team.
And he was not a sports guy. He's a fugazi.
Yeah, I
Adam
agree.
Sandler, he's legit.
That's the man.
Yeah, he's a legit Knicks man.
He's a legit basketball guy.
Yeah,
I'll talk basketball for hours.
right.
It's great.
This Sandler legit.
You
King
wa-
of Queens, no.
You watch way more Kevin James stuff than I would imagine you would.
Well,
You're pretty familiar with this
kids.
guy's body of work.
I did like
The
the Kevin
kids.
James.
Yeah, the kids like
The
his
kids
stuff.
watch Home Team. Massimo liked Home Team.
Okay.
I hate that movie.
I've never
It was
I've never
bad.
heard of it till this moment.
No, it's Sean Payton's story. He coaches his son, and he's like the coordinator. Whatever.
Yeah.
What's the worst?
I got to go with it. I'm going to pull out a Knicks fan. What's Jason Bateman? What's that look he was
Oh my
sporting during
God.
the game? He looks like he was from medieval times. Come on, bro.
I was.
thought you were cool with
it was
this.
getting
Come
past
on,
the
man.
Christ, man.
Why? What's wrong with the beard? You got the beard.
This is my look. I'm a beard guy. He's not a beard guy.
I thought he looked cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I like Jason Bateman. No, you're out.
I mean, I do like Jason Bateman. I didn't like that look at him at all. I like clean cut Jason Bateman. I don't need him all scruffed up, hipster looking. No.
I don't
He's living in Brooklyn
got a
these
little
days.
Jesus Bateman logo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Come
Looks
on,
like
man.
JC.
Well, maybe he's filming something, you know?
Yeah, Passion of Christ too. I don't
Pull
know.
back in a nice man bun or something.
The man bun.
The man bun.
Oh, good
All
times,
right,
man.
well, here it is tonight. What happens tonight, JP?
We're beating the Knicks. Come on. Give me a game 2 win. I don't care. Give me that game 2 win. Let's go. Vamos, vamos, Philadelphia.
Yeah, we need to hear him
After the
sing.
game, we have to hear you sing it.
We need to hear him
Absolutely.
sing.
What do you got?
I feel good tonight. I don't think that bench can replicate what they did the other night. Nick
Yeah,
Nurse is right. You
exactly.
know, the defense played well. They gave them the shots they wanted to give them.
Dude,
They happened to
they
hit 'em.
got to win, man.
And Nick Nurse. Nursey.
I'm hearing it, too. I'm getting smashed.
No, I'm sure you are.
After I put my big
Oh,
mouth.
you were
the
pretty
post.
chesty on that,
Yeah,
that
that
post
column.
interview.
Yeah, Oh.
Hey, shout out to Cash Brother Ghost who said, "Thank God it was 420, or I may have died Saturday."
Yeah. Here you go, Casper. My man. All right, everybody. As always, thanks for hanging. We love you. All right. Have a great day. Enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully. He'll be singing tomorrow, and we'll be hanging. We'll see you then. Thanks.
We all silly like the mayor.